People always ask me what it's like to come back from war. What they really mean is, how bad was it? As if trauma can be measured in bruises or medals. I've got both. 2 deployments in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan, plus a leg that doesn't bend right and a scar that cuts through my left shoulder like a map line. But none of that prepared me for coming home. You don't expect the battlefield to follow you. You sure as hell don't expect it to be inside your own house. My name's Daniel Wells. Most call me Danny. I'm 42. Used to be a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. 20 years in, until my body gave out before my will did. I was discharged 2 years ago after a roadside IED nearly took my left leg and a chunk of my spine. I limped through a year of surgeries, rehab, night sweats, and painkillers. Came out sober, scarred, and ready to start again. Melissa, my wife, had been with me through it all. Met her just after my first tour. She was 24, a new teacher. Shy, in this sweet kind of way. I wasn't the easiest guy to talk to back then. I was blunt, closed off, didn't like small talk. But she had this way of cracking into me. Little smiles, gentle hands. She made me feel like the noise in my head could quiet down, like I could be enough. We got married in a courthouse after my second tour. No big show, no family drama. Just her, me, a couple of friends. She wore a sundress, I wore my blues. We got a dog. Later adopted a baby boy, Zachary, when he was just 7 months old. Couldn't have kids ourselves, but we didn't care. That kid was mine from the second I held him. After I got out, we moved to a small place outside Denver. I opened a repair shop. Nothing fancy, just engines, carburetors, oil-stained mornings, and greasy muckles. Melissa kept teaching. 3rd grade mostly. She loved it. Brought home crayon drawings, funny stories, and that tired but glowing look teachers get after a day with kids who never shut up. Our life was simple. Not perfect, but it was ours. The first time I noticed something off wasn't a scream, a fight, or even silence. It was a look. I'd just gotten home from a weekend-long VA retreat. Physical therapy, group talks, the usual drill. Walked into the house, and Melissa was in the kitchen, laughing with someone on her phone. She didn't hear me first. Her voice was softer than usual. There was a lilt in it, something younger, freer, flirty. I stood in the hallway a second too long, and then cleared my throat. She turned fast, like I caught her stealing. The smile vanished, phone slipped into her back pocket. "Hey, babe," she said, and kissed me like she was trying to skip the guilt. I told myself I imagined it. The next week, there was a wine night at her friend Nina's place. Melissa said it was just the girls. She looked amazing that night. Heels, makeup, that black top she rarely wore. I almost told her to stay home, but I didn't. You don't want to be that guy, the overprotective veteran, the jealous husband. So I let her go. She came back late, tipsy, hair a mess, no panties. I asked how the night was. She shrugged, smiled. Too much wine, not enough food. Then she climbed into bed and passed out before I could kiss her. I lay next to her and stared at the ceiling. Told myself again, don't be paranoid. But the feeling was already there. Like a slow leak in a pipe you can't see, but you know it's dripping somewhere behind the wall. Melissa changed over time. Not suddenly, gradually. Her phone, once an afterthought, became a fifth limb. Always in her hand, face down on the table, locked even in the shower. She stopped leaving her purse open, started texting late, had new names in her mouth. Brian's so funny. Nina's wild. We're planning a book club. School stuff, don't worry. Zachary started saying strange things too. Mom was with Brian and Nina again. I'd ask where. He'd say, in your bed. I laughed the first time, Kids mix things up. Except he wasn't laughing. He looked confused. Off. One day I picked up Melissa's iPad, the one we use for movies. It was synced to her messages. Just dumb luck, or maybe fate. The screen blinked open, and there they were. 3 conversations. All recent. All intimate. One was with Nina. Words like, "I miss your hands, and I still taste you." Another with Brian, the gym teacher. Shirtless selfies. Flirting. Plans. "When can I come over again?" "Miss your mouth." He still doesn't know. And the third was a group chat. The 3 of them. Photos. Emojis. Inside jokes I didn't want to understand. And then a video. Muted at first until I turned the sound on. My wife's laugh unmistakable. Breathless. 2 bodies beside her. One male, one female. On our couch. In our home. While Zachary was away. While I was in the VA hospital learning to walk better. I closed the iPad like it was burning in my hands. Everything inside me went quiet. Not rage, not heartbreak. Just that dead silence you feel when you realize the enemy isn't out there. It's inside your walls, in your bed, wearing your ring. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the garage with the lights off, the iPad on the workbench next to a half-disassembled carburetor. I stared at it for hours, not because I wanted to rewatch that video or reread those messages, but because I needed to make sure it was real, that I hadn't imagined it, that my brain, damaged as it sometimes felt, wasn't playing tricks on me. Every time I blinked, I saw Melissa's body tangled with Nina's, her voice moaning between kisses and laughter, Brian's hands where mine used to be. She looked alive in those moments, not like the version of her I'd come home to, not the woman who smiled tiredly, said, "I love you," like it was part of a checklist, and then rolled over. No, that woman was gone, replaced by someone who had been hiding in plain sight for months, maybe years. The next morning, I made coffee like nothing had changed. I watched her walk into the kitchen in that same worn hoodie, hair up, barefoot. She kissed my cheek and reached for a mug, then checked her phone before even speaking to me. I studied her face, not with love, but with the precision of a soldier assessing a threat. She looked normal, calm, not like someone who'd been betraying her husband in the house they built together. That scared me more than anything. The ease of it, the casualness. She didn't even flinch. I didn't say a word. Not that day or the next. Instead, I started watching. Patterns, excuses, phone habits. Nina's name came up more often, Brian's less so, which made sense. Nina was the shield, the safe name. She covered the lies. She was the cover. But then I noticed the gaps, the inconsistencies. One night, Melissa said she was at Nina's, but her location pinged near the gym. Another night, she claimed to be at a school event, but showed up home at 1:30 a.m., hair wet, eyes glazed, clothes inside out. She stammered something about drinks, car trouble, a friend dropping her off. I just nodded, said, "Okay." Didn't press. Let her build her own noose. I dug deeper. Not out of curiosity, out of necessity. I needed to know just how far this had gone. I needed to know if I was crazy or just stupid. I started checking the house cameras, the little indoor ones I'd installed a year ago for Zachary when we'd leave the dog home. I'd forgotten they were even there. Melissa had too, and there it was. Footage from a Friday 2 weeks earlier, Zachary at his grandparents' house,
me at the shop late, and Melissa on the couch with Nina, then Brian, then both. The timestamps didn't lie. Neither did the sounds. I watched in silence, my own face cold in the reflection of the screen. There was no panic in her face, no shame, not even hesitation. She kissed Nina like they'd done it 100 times. She let Brian take her in ways I hadn't even tried. And all of it, every moment, was happening under the roof I paid for, on the couch I bought, in the home where I promised her protection, in the place I thought I was safe. I thought about confronting her right then, but what would I say? That I knew? She'd just cry, apologize, maybe spin it. It's complicated. It didn't mean anything. We were just experimenting. Or worse, she'd say nothing at all, and the silence would destroy me more than her words ever could. So I waited. I started packing small things, moving cash, lining up a place to go. Zachary wouldn't understand, not yet, but I wasn't going to raise him in a house of lies. He deserved more. I deserved more. Melissa was gone before she ever knew I was leaving. And that's what broke me. She didn't even notice. Didn't see the way I stopped touching her. Didn't ask why I slept on the edge of the bed. Didn't blink when I skipped dinner or when I kissed our son goodnight without saying a word to her. She didn't see me anymore. Because she wasn't looking. Because she already had everything she wanted. And none of it was me.
I started disappearing without telling her. At first, it was just an hour here, 2 hours there. I'd stay late at the garage, grab dinner by myself, sit in the truck with the engine running and no music playing. Sometimes I'd go to the park, just sit on a bench and watch strangers walk by, wondering how many of them are walking next to people who had already betrayed them. It sounds dramatic, maybe even childish, but it felt like I was erasing myself from our life one piece at a time. I stopped leaving my wallet on the kitchen counter. I started keeping a go bag in the back seat of my truck. I deleted shared apps, changed passwords, took down old framed photos when she wasn't home and shoved them in a box. Not because I needed to destroy the memories, I just couldn't stand the lives frozen in glass. Melissa didn't notice. Or maybe she did and didn't care. Either way, she never asked. Zachary was the only one who kept me tethered. Every time I saw his eyes, the same color as hers, I reminded myself why I hadn't just set the house on fire and driven off into the night. He didn't ask questions, just hugged me tighter in those weeks. Kids know, even when you lie to their faces. They feel it in the pauses, in the empty chair at dinner, in the fake smiles. I couldn't lie to him the way she lied to me. I was waiting. I didn't know for what exactly. Maybe some final push. Maybe a moment that would give me permission to let go completely without guilt. And then it came. It was a Thursday. Zach was with his grandparents again. Melissa had said she had girls' night with Nina. I played along, nodded, told her to have fun. She wore a low-cut dress I hadn't seen in months. Red, short, tight, the kind she used to save for our date nights. She didn't kiss me goodbye, just grabbed her clutch and left. I waited 2 hours, then I drove. I didn't follow her because I didn't trust her. I already knew. I followed her because something inside me said, tonight she won't be careful. And she wasn't. They weren't at Nina's. They weren't at a club. They weren't even in town. I found them in a parking lot at a cheap roadside motel off the highway. Nina's car was already there. So was Brian's. 3 cars, 1 room, 1 cracked curtain. I parked across the street, watched shadows move behind that window like a silent puppet show. My stomach didn't drop. My heart didn't race. I felt nothing, numb, like I had finally reached the last page of a book I hated but couldn't stop reading. I could have stormed in, kicked the door down, made a scene, but what was the point? I already knew how this chapter ended. Instead, I snapped a picture. Just one. The three of them in the window. Bodies tangled in silhouette, too careless to notice the world outside. And then I left. I went home, took my box of things, wrote a short note. You didn't even have to lie. You just had to tell me you were done. I packed the rest of what mattered, not much, turns out, and drove to a motel across town. Not the one she was in, a different one. One without memories. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. In the morning, I didn't check my phone, didn't wait for the fallout, because there wasn't going to be one. I wasn't giving her a chance to spin the story. She could have her lovers, her excuses, her chaos. I was done. I didn't hate her. I didn't even wish her pain. I just no longer recognized the person I used to love. She'd become a stranger wearing the skin of my wife, and I wasn't going to share a bed or a life with a ghost. The next morning, I turned my phone on just long enough to block her number. No dramatic message, no final word, just silence. She'd already used up all her explanations. Whatever version of reality she wanted to paint, she could hang it on someone else's wall. I wasn't going to be her canvas anymore. But of course, silence never stays silent for long. She came looking for me 2 days later. I'd moved into a cheap month-to-month apartment on the edge of town, a place where the pipes rattled and the heater worked when it wanted. But the windows faced west, and the light at sunset made the whole room glow like fire. It felt clean, in a weird way, like a blank page after too many ripped-out chapters. I heard the knock before I saw her. 3 slow taps, hesitant. I didn't answer. Through the peephole I saw her. No makeup, hair pulled back, eyes puffy, probably from crying or not sleeping or both. She didn't knock again, just stood there a minute, then slid something under the door. I waited until I heard her leave. It was the photo I took, the one from the motel window. She'd printed it. On the back, in her handwriting, I didn't mean for it to be this way. Please, just talk to me. I stared at it for a long time. I thought maybe I'd feel something. Anger, pity, nostalgia. But there was just stillness. I folded the photo once, twice, dropped it in the trash, and took the trash out that same minute. Some things don't belong inside anymore, not even as memories. She tried calling from other numbers after that, made a new email, messaged me through old shared accounts. At first it was pleading. We can fix this. It didn't mean anything. I was lost. Then came guilt. Zach misses you. You abandoned us. You promised forever. And finally, the anger. You're a coward. You were never enough. You think you're so righteous? I didn't respond. Not once. I saw Zach once, a week later. Arranged it through his grandmother. I didn't want to drag him into the middle of our mess. We sat on a park bench, and he leaned against my side the way he always had when he was little. He didn't ask much, just said, "I miss you." And I told him, "I miss you too." But sometimes when grown-ups lie too much, they have to live apart so the lies don't get on the kids. He didn't say anything, but he nodded like he understood more than I gave him credit for. I wanted to tell him everything, but he wasn't ready. And maybe I wasn't either.
Melissa never showed up in person again. I think she realized that whatever power she had over me had been broken the moment I walked away without making a scene. That was my revenge. Not anger, not violence, not begging for answers, just absence. That void where I used to be. She couldn't argue with it, couldn't fight it, couldn't control it. Some nights I still lie awake, not because I miss her, but because I'm trying to untangle the version of me that allowed it all to go on for so long. I used to think staying silent was strength. Now I know, sometimes silence is just fear in a better costume. I don't wear my wedding ring anymore. I keep it in a drawer, not because I can't throw it away, but because I want to remember what trusting the wrong person looks like. It's not bitterness. It's armor. She broke something in me, but not the way she thinks. She thought I'd chase her. She thought I'd fight to win her back. What she never understood was, when a soldier walks away, really walks away, it's because the war's already over. And I'd finally stopped fighting for someone who'd already surrendered me.
There was no epiphany, no sunrise that washed everything clean. Healing doesn't happen like that. It's not a movie montage where I suddenly start jogging at dawn and smiling at strangers and finding peace in yoga or some new woman's arms. That's the kind of bullshit people sell each other to avoid sitting in the quiet with what actually hurts. The truth? It took weeks before I stopped waking up expecting to hear her in the kitchen. Months before I could smell a certain shampoo at the store and not feel like someone punched me in the chest. Even longer before I could hear a certain song and not taste bile in the back of my throat. But I never went back. Not once. Not mentally, not physically, not even in my weakest moments. I picked up shifts again. Contract security at the docks, then private site jobs for construction firms who didn't ask questions as long as you showed up on time and kept your mouth shut. The work was numbing. Perfect. I needed that. I got used to cooking for one, got used to the silence, even started talking to myself sometimes, just to hear a voice that didn't lie. I didn't date. Hell, I didn't even flirt. Women noticed, sometimes. They'd give that look, the one that says, "You're alone, so am I." But I wasn't ready to let anyone in. Still felt like I had old war wounds bleeding under my skin. You don't invite someone into a house still smoldering from the last fire. Zach came around once every 2 weeks. His grandma was good about keeping us in contact. Melissa didn't interfere. Maybe she was ashamed. Maybe she finally accepted she'd lost whatever hold she once had. I didn't care. I was done trying to figure her out. My son started asking deeper questions. He was growing faster than I expected. He wanted to know why I wasn't coming home, why we couldn't be a family again. And I told him the truth, in pieces, small enough for a kid to carry without them crushing him. I said, sometimes people hurt each other in ways that can't be unhurt, even if they say sorry. He nodded. Then he asked, "Did she hurt you like in the war?" I said, "Worse, because I trusted her." That night I cried, not because I was sad, but because someone finally understood. A 10-year-old kid saw through the noise in ways no adult ever had. Years passed, quietly, slowly, without ceremony. I didn't remarry. I didn't fall in love again. I focused on becoming someone I respected when no one was watching. Took a few online classes, read a lot, volunteered sometimes with other vets who'd been through the same kind of wounds, Not the ones you can patch with gauze, but the ones that rot in the dark if you never talk about them. And slowly, without even noticing, I stopped defining myself by what she did to me. She became a scar. Still there, still visible in certain lights, still sore if pressed too hard, but no longer bleeding. Last I heard, she moved out of state. God married again. I don't care to know the details. Her story's no longer mine to carry. But mine? Mine's still unfolding. Not with big triumphs or dramatic turning points, just quiet victories. Like going a whole week without thinking of her. Like hearing Zach laugh and knowing I helped build that sound. Like standing in the mirror and not flinching. This isn't a redemption arc. I didn't climb out of hell to find heaven waiting. I found a little peace, a little clarity, and the strength to be okay with being alone. And honestly, that's more than enough.